The county 911, Los Angeles emergency.
Yes, I have a 3-year-old who's not breathing.
Okay, are you with him now?
Yes, I'm attempting CPR. He was playing outside on the playground. I'm not sure what happened. Please, I need help.
Ambulance finally got here. They tell you your baby's dead. I couldn't breathe.
Сейчас думаю, что лучше бы они при мне были. И живые, и здоровые.
In late October, Maxim Kuzmin was adopted from an orphanage in northwest Russia. He was renamed Max Shadow and moved to Texas. 3 months later, he was dead. There was outrage in Russia, where state media initially claimed he had been killed.
В Америке убит еще один ребенок из России. Максим Кузьмин предположительно погиб от рук приемной матери, которая сильно его избила, а ранее долго давала сильнодействующие лекарства.
Soon after Max left Russia, Americans were banned from adopting Russian children. It was widely covered by U.S. media.
Russia's upper house of parliament voted unanimously, 143-0, in favor of the adoption ban on Wednesday.
This was the Kremlin's response to a new U.S. law that forbid accused human rights abusers from Russia to visit the United States. Russian officials deny this as the reason.
Было несколько таких резонансных случаев, которые заставили общество и органы власти к этой теме подойти более внимательно, особенно связанные с тем, что начали обсуждаться случаи гибели детей за рубежом. Это не только США, это другие страны.
It was early June last year when Laura and Alan Shadow first visited Pechori, Russia to see the two brothers. They knew little of the boys' parents.
We didn't have any big concerns, or reservations about adopting them. Neither one of them showed any signs of slow development. Max didn't, because Max was old enough he could, sit down and do stuff.
By early November, the brothers Max and Chris were brought home to Texas. They had a room and a new life waiting for them.
Show Max his.
Max, look what Santa brought you, Max.
It was a big moment. The Shadows now had 2 children after failing to conceive for years.
When I first laid eyes on them, they could have been purple with horns growing out of their head, and they would have still been ours.
But within weeks, the Shadows say Max was displaying disturbing behavior, repeatedly hurting himself, banging his head against the wall, and hurling his body on the floor. They reported it to his pediatrician and the adoption agency.
There's a period of terror that you're so afraid your child's going to hurt himself to the point that it's going to be something major.
Following Max's death, coroners found cuts and bruises all over his body, suggesting possible abuse. But they later ruled that they were all self-inflicted and that a blunt trauma to his lower abdomen had caused fatal internal bleeding. Max had either fallen from or was hit by playground equipment in his backyard.
This child died of an accident. This set of circumstances came together where this undersized child with a behavioral disorder of injuring himself led to a place where he was accidentally hurt, and it happened to be at a time when his mom was in the bathroom.
After weeks of suspicion, prosecutors cleared the Shadows of any wrongdoing. Yulia Kuzmina was 20 years old when Max was born.
Раньше бы я, когда первый месяц только узнала время, их убить была готова. Сейчас не знаю. Бог рассудит. Может, она и в действительности не виновата, просто не усмотрела и все.
Ms. Kuzmina lives a hard life in Godov, a rundown Russian town bordering Estonia, where jobs are scarce and alcoholism is a serious problem. She had 2 sons with different fathers and said Max's was abusive. Both children had once lived in this house. Officials removed them after a court found her addicted to alcohol and guilty of neglect. Ms. Kuzmina says she fought to keep them. The orphanage disputes this.
Скажите, когда его забрали? Вы тогда, в общем, употребляли и злоупотребляли, да?
Выпивала по праздникам, но не каждый день по праздникам.
Ms. Kuzmina says she's given up drinking and plans to look for work. But her own father, Andrei Kuzmin, disagrees.
Она так решила, она так будет жить, и все. Бомж, если он решил, будет бомжом, он им будет. А человек, который хочет работать, он все равно себе найдет. Это не отговорка. Тем более, а зачем она-то рожала детей? Она сама его обрекла.
Adoption records say Max lagged 6 months behind his peers developmentally. Laura Chateau now suspects that he may have been exposed to alcohol while in the womb and that orphanage officials were not forthcoming about his behavioral history.
У меня лично складывается ощущение, что каким-то образом она хочет оправдать свою, так скажем, вот просто халатность по отношению к этим двум детям. Нормальный был ребенок.
After months of media attention, Russia's ban on American adoptions remains. Ms. Kuzmina says she wants her surviving son back. But the Shadows continue to raise Chris and live with the memory of his lost brother.
You have those moments that you'll remember forever, and I mean, he had issues, but he had the sweetest personality. Looking back, I mean, we would have still brought him home.